aunties. So I'm here with baby Zoe, and I have my other babies here. Let me see if I can pull them where you guys can see them. Maybe you can't, but I'll show them a little bit later. But I have Amari and baby Breezy, which is Carter, here beside me. But today I was just wanting to talk about, I know like I was seeing where a few people were asking like what's better, partial or full body silicone. Well, everybody collects them for different reasons. Some people collect them for the color factor. Some people collect them for the way they feel. Some people collect them for the dressing factor. Some people collect them for the bathing factor. Now for me, I kind of like all of it. But I used to think you couldn't get it all in, you know, like a full body. So let's start with the partial silicone. Me personally, I love both. And I love the partial silicone because, of course, you can pose them like really just like you can a reborn. Because their arms are, you know, movable. And their legs are, you know, movable. Just everything about them you can just pose. Now people will say, oh, but I can pose, you know, silicones with the armatures. Yeah, you can, and some have them in the arms and the legs, and you can pose them to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, a partial is still going to be more posable. That's just my opinion. So I like them both. But with the full body, and then for me, I don't really bathe mine like a whole lot anyway. Either the full body or the partial. I know that was one of the main attractions when silicones first came out. That and the pacifier thing, which everybody know that's my fetish, you know. Hands and feet with all my dolls, and then the pacifier thing. I love to be able to just stick a pacifier in their mouth without having to modify it with a magnet. But the bathing thing, I give my partials a sponge bath. And then my silicone, yes, I really enjoy giving them a full bath. But I don't get to do that often because I don't want to overdo it. They're not, you know, real. So, but what I've learned with the full body is you can get a full body that is just as cuddly as a reborn. It just depends on the softness and the way it's made. I didn't realize that until, yeah, you got it, guys. I'm about to say it. So for those that get upset when I talk about my Claire Taylor baby, I'm just going to have to say sorry. But yeah, when I got Zoe, I was really, really, really impressed. I couldn't believe that she was just as cuddly as a reborn. And I don't feel like I have to be on eggshells with her. Her silicone is super soft. It's not too soft to where it loses its form. Like when you're, you know, like when her leg bends like this, it still looks like a leg. It don't look like a noodle. Some silicones, they're soft, and then when you go to bending them, they go to looking like, you know, it's not a real body part. But the mid part of most full bodies are so firm until that's the part that makes them so stiff that they have no flexibility. And now with the partials, the head floppiness, maybe a little bit more, but I've even had partials that the head didn't really flop. It depends on the type of body you have them on and how you have them weighted, because some of them don't even flop like you would think, like a reborn. So Um, but I think, you know, she flops enough for me. I know that sometimes with the longer necks, or you know, in the one piece, sometimes the heads can be a little bit more floppy, but it all depends, because I've had full body ones in one piece and the head doesn't flop all that much either. But yeah, so it's just all depends. It just really depends, like, on your preference. But me personally, I like them both for different reasons. I love to keep at least have one partial and one full body in my collection if possible. Now, I am selling Ja'Cory. I am putting him up for adoption, and but that is for other reasons. But I will still one day, you know, have another partial in my collection, because I do love partials, as well as the full body. But I think the full body, the cuddle factor is definitely going to solely depend on the artist and the sculpt and how their babies are made. Like I said, like, see, she's very, you know, she will, you know, fold, and I can scrunch her up, her little, like, I can, and I don't want to do this, but I can, you know, bend her without compromising. Her silicone is pretty firm. Her little, let's see if I can show you guys. Her midsection is very soft. And it's kind of like, it's like memory foam. It's very soft, and I'm not even, and it takes a little time to release back out. But see how soft her tummy is? And I'm not even really applying any real pressure. But that's her tummy. And see, when she bends over, it kind of protrudes forward a little bit. Not as soft as, like, if you guys seen Stephanie Baby or Claire's new silicones with the really squishy belly. It's not like that. I felt that at the doll show, and honey, it's not like that. Because honey, if it was like that, I'd be acting like I was brand new or something. You guys will really be tired of me talking about Claire babies if I had one with that squishy tummy. Because that tummy feels so amazingly real. And what gets me with that is that with that baby, not the whole body is squishy like that. It's just that lower part of her tummy, and this part up is more firm. And I'm like, how do you do that? And then her back is still firm like it should be. So it's just, you know, silicones can just be really fun, and they can. But with your reborns, you can make them cuddly, you know, super cuddly too. I've had reborns that came to me that were stiff as a board, but it was only because of the way they were weighted. Now, that's why I always keep my weighting material on hand. My cluster fluff and my glass beads and neckties or zip ties or whatever, I keep that. I always have that, because I know me, if one come and they're stiff as a board, I'm not gonna like it until I get it right. So, and that's kind of what happened with, well, Yaya wasn't stiff, but sort of, kind of. She didn't feel, she felt good, you know, body-wise, like realistically, like a real baby body feel, but she wasn't cuddly. And even though she's a big baby, and I know that bigger babies shouldn't be so cuddly, shouldn't be so, you know, they shouldn't be floppy, but the type of body that she had on had her legs like going in awkward positions, and they just were kind of like stuck out like that all the time. So when I changed her body, it made a big difference, and then I was able to connect with her. And that's the next video. in the next video, I will talk about bonding with the doll. So that is my opinion, guys. I don't want to make this video super long. I think that partials, for the most part, across the board, are more cuddly than the average silicone baby. There are a few artists out there that has accomplished the task of making the full bodies very cuddly, but there are not as many. So over as a whole, in just general, yes, partials are more floppy, and it's just a preference of what you like. It's no one can, there's no right answer for that. So yeah, there's no right answer for that. It's just like with, you know, some people like Equiflex 20, some people like Equiflex 30, some people like Equiflex 10. I've heard people say that they don't like their baby super soft because it don't feel realistic. And then, you know, I've heard people say they don't like them really firm because then they feel like they just have a soft reborn. It's just, everything in this hobby is definitely preference. And the sad part about silicone is you really don't know until you actually get it and feel it, because I've had different ones that's been Equiflex 20 and they still feel different from the last Equiflex 20. So it just depends on how that artist mix that silicone and how they pour it, because it can be Equiflex 20 and still be too firm, or it can be Equiflex 20 and be too soft. It can be, you know, and then the sculpting plays a part in the realism too, because I don't know. So yeah, so it just all depends, but I can tell you guys who I like the softness of Ross Bailey babies. They feel really nice. They're cuddly. That I can say about her babies. They are very cuddly. Even the bigger ones are cuddly. But there I have had some that was not cuddly. And of course I'm not going to name the names, but I've had some that wasn't that cuddly. My biggest thing with silicones, I'm sorry, my biggest thing with full body silicones, most of the time that I have a big problem with, is proportion. A lot of them are not really proportioned right. And I know it's such a hard job to sculpt and make these silicones. So, I mean, sometimes you gotta know what's your deal breaker. But I've had some that heads were huge and the body was little, and it just drove me nuts. And then there's some that, you know, I don't know, just different things. But anyway, talk to you guys later on the next video. I'm going to do one more session, and I'm going to try to, I'm doing a few talk about it videos. So the next video will be about bonding. So stay tuned, guys.